My fiancée stood me up 7 times for our marriage license, so I left her the 7th time Victoria Bellwether stood me up for our appointment to get our marriage license. I decided to cut off all ties with her. If she was at a gathering with friends, I wasn't. When she was invited to perform at the alumni event, I left before her act. When my company chose to partner with hers, I immediately resigned. Even on New Year's Eve, when she came to my parents' house, I made an excuse about visiting friends and left. Blocked number. Unfriended. The goal was a clean break. I didn't contact her, and she couldn't find me. For the better part of the last 30 years, I had been obsessively in love with her, caring for her wholeheartedly. It wasn't until I was stood up for the 7th time at City Hall that I finally woke up. I didn't want to live like this anymore. Even being alone was better than guarding an empty house day and night. I waited for Victoria Bellwether at the Marriage License Bureau in City Hall until the staff was closing up. At first, when I called, she just said she was busy and told me to wait. After another 2 hours, my calls went straight to voicemail. Her line was constantly busy. The marriage application form in my hand was crumpled into a tight ball. "Sir, we're closing now. Do you still need to process your marriage application?" one of the clerks asked kindly. Seeing I had waited all day, I snapped back to reality and gently shook my head. "Thank you, but no, I won't be needing it." As I walked out of City Hall, a few clerks leaving work whispered as they passed me, "I think I've seen him a few times before. Always comes alone to get married. Now that you mention it, I remember him too. Seems like he's always waiting for someone who never shows up." My face remained blank, but inside I felt utterly torn apart, bleeding drop by drop. I couldn't lift my head for shame and quickened my pace subconsciously. This was the 7th time I had come to City Hall to wait for Victoria. Just as I stepped outside, ready to hail a cab, Victoria appeared. She ran towards me, panting, a hint of apology on her face. "I'm so sorry, Sincere. Something came up suddenly at work today. I'm not too late, am I?" I gave a silent, humorless laugh. "The last time we were supposed to get married, something came up at work. The time before that, still something at work. Never mind the past incidents. She was using the same excuse again. I was too tired to even call her out on it, just shaking my head. You're too late. The clerks just left." Victoria listened, feigning indignation. She glanced at her watch and then pointedly blamed others. "Honestly, these people always leaving right on time. Can't even wait 1 extra minute." Saying this, she stepped forward, took my hand and placed it on her chest, which was rising and falling rapidly. "There was traffic, you see. I ran all the way here. I'm exhausted." I stared at her blankly, fighting back the stinging sensation in my nose. No one is a fool. I could guess whether she had actually run or not. Biting my lower lip, I questioned her for the first time. "If you really ran such a long distance, why aren't you even sweating?" Her forehead was completely dry, not a drop of sweat, not even a hint of moisture. The moment I said it, Victoria's expression changed. She frowned, her eyes flashing with anger, her voice rising several notches. "What's that supposed to mean? Are you saying I'm lying? That I deliberately avoided getting married to you? I ran so hard I'm exhausted and you don't believe me. Sincere Clark, I never thought you could be so heartless and cruel." She was remarkably good at turning the tables, but her hysterical anger only confirmed my suspicion that she had a guilty conscience. Rubbing my temples, I suddenly lost the desire to pursue it further, to get entangled with her anymore. "Victoria Bellwether, whether it's true or not, you know best in your heart." With that, I turned to leave. Her cold, merciless voice followed me. "Fine, I know then. Let's see you really leave me alone this time. Don't come crawling back, begging me to marry you. I want to see how long you last this time stubbornly." I didn't look back, but I had bitten my lower lip so hard it drew blood. I had only taken a couple of steps when a text message arrived. "Sincere Clark, didn't manage to get the license again, huh? What a pity. But don't worry, looking forward to the 8th time you beg Victoria to go." I read the message over and over, 3 times in total. Even being as slow as I am, I knew he was provoking me. Although I suspected the reason for Victoria standing me up, receiving Ethan Lawrence's text still brought an indescribable sense of suffocation. Victoria and I were childhood sweethearts, practically inseparable growing up. Ever since I was little, I declared I would marry her when I grew up. I remember saying it shortly after starting elementary school, and both my parents and her parents burst out laughing. She always treated me like someone very close. It wasn't until university, when she brought another male classmate home for the first time, that things changed. That person was Ethan Lawrence. The way they interacted made me realize that perhaps Victoria's closeness to me wasn't love. So, I panicked. After graduation, I jokingly suggested we get our marriage license. Although both sets of parents agreed, Victoria refused me flatly. Over the next 7 or 8 years, I asked her dozens of times, off and on. She only agreed 7 times. And each of those 7 times, she stood me up. Every single time, Ethan Lawrence would send a timely, provocative text message. My phone vibrated again. Assuming it was Ethan, I instinctively moved to reject the call, but then I saw the caller ID. It was my friend Chloe. She was inviting me to a party tonight. Without thinking, the first words out of my mouth were asking if Victoria would be there. Sincere, don't worry, I know about you and Victoria. I already told her ahead of time she'll be there, then count me out. If she's going, I'm not. Maybe next time. Chloe's cheerful chatter suddenly stopped, as if shocked by my words. Everyone knew I'd been chasing Victoria for years. Shamelessly bringing her flowers at graduation, racking my brains to find her suitable jobs, devotedly cleaning her place, doing her laundry, cooking for her. Once at a friend's birthday party, someone remarked that Victoria must have done good deeds in a past life to deserve someone like me. But Victoria just snorted dismissively. He's like a persistent pest, so annoying. Who cares? Back then, I didn't care. I always thought she would change for me, but now I cared. After hanging up, I sent a group message to several close friends. From now on, if Victoria Bellwether is invited to a gathering, don't include me. Having done all that, I took a cab back to my rented apartment. After showering, I started packing up everything in the apartment that belonged to Victoria. I put it all in a suitcase and called a courier service to send it to her place. Just as the courier arrived, my friend Chloe Davis showed up. Clearly having heard something was up. Seeing me with the packed suitcase, she blurted out, "Sincere, you're not leaving town, are you?" I managed a weary smile and opened the suitcase for her to see. "What are you talking about? This is all Victoria's stuff. I'm sending it back to her." Chloe stared for a moment, then watched the courier take the suitcase away before asking incredulously, "Sincere, didn't you say you were getting your license with Victoria today? How did it suddenly?" She trailed off mid-sentence. She knew about Victoria standing me up and quickly put 2 and 2 together. Her eyes practically shot fire. "Did Victoria stand you up again? No wonder you sent that text. It must be Ethan Lawrence pulling strings behind the scenes. Come on, I'll take you to confront her right now." Despite my protests, Chloe dragged me to the venue where their party was being held. Just as we reached the door of the private room, we heard Victoria's voice. "Oh, stop teasing. After all these years, no matter what harsh things Sincere says, he always comes back to me. He's just mad today. Once he cools off, he'll be back, following me around like a puppy." Outside the door, I bit the soft flesh inside my cheek until I tasted blood. All these years I had taken care of her wholeheartedly, wanted the best for her, only to find out I meant nothing to her. Chloe saw the redness in my eyes and patted my shoulder. She was about to push the door open, but I stopped her. At this point, I didn't even want to see Victoria's face again. I pulled Chloe away, ready to leave. Just as we took 2 steps and reached the corner, Victoria and Ethan Lawrence came out of the room. Ethan quickly spoke up. "Victoria, you've had too much to drink. Don't say so much. If little Sincere heard you, he'd be heartbroken. Isn't his heartbreak exactly what you wanted? Every time you make me agree to go get the license with him, and then make me stand him up at the last minute. Little Juju, Why are you so bad?" As Victoria's words hung in the air, the tears welling in my eyes finally overflowed. So, I was just a clown. A pawn in their game, the butt of their cruel joke. No wonder the first time Victoria agreed to marry me, she showed no excitement or happiness at all. I was just too caught up in my sudden joy to notice the disdain in her eyes. Ethan pulled Victoria into his arms, playfully tapping her chest. "What do you mean I'm bad? You were the one who came up with the idea in the first place." "Well, back then, I was just trying to cheer you up. It was a last resort." As they spoke, they started kissing, oblivious to anyone else. I felt like my soul had left my body. Numbly, I pulled Chloe out of the hotel. The cool night breeze felt like it froze my heart. "Sincere, you're just too kind. That's why that shameless pair thought they could mess with you like this." Chloe fumed. I managed a faint smile, but as soon as I opened my mouth, it filled with the thick, metallic taste of blood. "It's over. From now on, Victoria and I are completely done. No connection whatsoever." After much persuading, I convinced Chloe to go home, and I returned to my rented apartment. Just before I got home, the courier called. He said he was at the designated address, but the recipient's phone wasn't reachable. I remembered Victoria always rejected calls from unknown numbers. I asked the courier to wait a moment, hung up, and called Victoria. She sounded like she was at a bar. It was noisy, but her smugness was unmistakable. "Calling me back already? Where's that courage you had when you ditched me on the street earlier today?" In the past, I would have shamelessly apologized, coaxed her, said all the right things. Now, I just stated flatly, "I had your things sent to your doorstep. Remember to pick them up when you get back." Victoria immediately became even more smug. "Oh, Sincere, what did you buy me this time? Trying to butter me up? Weren't you being all tough, sending messages to your friends that you wouldn't attend any gathering I was at? Now you know how to suck up to me again?" I didn't say another word, just hung up the phone. Just before I hung up, I thought I heard her ask what I had sent her, saying she'd have to see if she liked it before deciding whether to forgive me. I let out a dry, humorless laugh. Right. After being her lapdog for so many years, I clearly had zero dignity left in her eyes. But it didn't matter. She would wake up eventually. After that day, I had no further contact with Victoria. I deleted her number and unfriended her on all social platforms. A few times friends invited me out, and I always asked beforehand if Victoria would be there. Eventually, everyone tacitly understood and would only invite one of us to any given gathering. Soon, the day before the university's alumni event arrived. Chloe had already called, asking me to go with her. As an outstanding alumnus, I had also received an official invitation. I hadn't expected Victoria to attend as well. But thinking about it, her grades were always top-notch in school, and she'd helped provide job opportunities for the university after graduation. It was perfectly normal for her to be invited. When Chloe and I arrived at the university, it was packed. Looking at the program, I immediately saw Victoria's name. Her performance was scheduled 7th. After watching the 6th act with Chloe, I made an excuse and left. As I walked out of the auditorium, I faintly heard someone calling my name from behind, but I didn't turn back. A moment later, a message popped up on my phone from Mr. Harrison, my former university advisor. "Sincere Clark, why the hurry? I called out to you several times, but you didn't answer. Your girlfriend's performance is next, aren't you staying to watch?" "Thank you, Mr. Harrison." Something came up and I had to leave. Also, I'm single. I don't have a girlfriend. After sending the text, I couldn't help but shake my head. I guess my relationship with Victoria was so public during university that even the advisor knew about us. What I didn't know was that Mr. Harrison was standing with Victoria at that very moment. She saw my reply. In the dim light of the auditorium, her expression was complex and unreadable. After leaving the university, I went to my office. I had left in such a hurry for the event that I'd forgotten my bag. At the office, I discovered that a project proposal had been drafted. More importantly, the partner listed on the proposal was Victoria's company. I immediately called my boss, Mr. Peterson, confirmed the situation, and then directly submitted my resignation. Mr. Peterson, I'm resigning for personal reasons. Sincere, this is so sudden. I was planning on having you liaise with the other party for this project. Thank you, Mr. Peterson, but that won't be necessary. I don't get along with that company. After hanging up, I opened my computer and wrote my resignation letter right there. Since the company was partnering with Victoria, the best way to avoid her was obviously to leave. After placing the resignation letter on his desk, I left the company. Back at my rented apartment, I noticed the hallway light was on. My apartment building had 2 units per floor, and the apartment next to mine was vacant, so the hallway light was rarely on. Taking a few steps, I saw Victoria smoking in the stairwell. She must have been waiting a long time. The floor around her was littered with cigarette butts. Luckily, I was cautious, and she didn't see me. I immediately turned and pressed the elevator button. The moment Victoria stepped out of the stairwell, the elevator doors were already closing. I faintly heard her yell, "Sincere Clark, that's you. Isn't it you came back? You're in the elevator, aren't you?" after the elevator went down, to prevent Victoria from following too quickly. I pressed the buttons for every single floor before letting the elevator ascend on its own. It wasn't the most considerate thing to do, but it worked. With Victoria staking out my apartment, I went to a nearby hotel to spend the night. Just as I finished checking in and turned to head upstairs, Victoria rushed in. She was panting heavily, sweat dripping from her forehead. Her face was flushed from the exertion. "Did someone just check in here? Was it a man named Sincere Clark? Answer me quickly, answer me." Hearing Victoria's shouts, I instinctively paused on the stairs. I was afraid the front desk staff at this hotel would give me away. Fortunately, the staff at this upscale hotel had basic professional discretion. The receptionist politely refused. "I'm sorry, sir, but that information is confidential guest privacy." Unexpectedly, Victoria, usually so composed and ladylike, started shouting in public, completely losing her cool. "Don't talk to me about privacy. I'm his girlfriend. I have the right to know if he checked in here or not." Hearing this, I couldn't help but let out a sarcastic smile. Girlfriend? What an unfamiliar word. Forget girlfriend. In all these years, Victoria had never even properly told me she liked me. "Sir, perhaps you could call him. If the guest is indeed staying here, you can provide me with the room number. I can verify it, and if it checks out, you may go up." The receptionist by the book response left Victoria frozen on the spot. She stood there for a long moment, speechless. I had blocked her number long ago, even unfriended her. How could she contact me? I didn't stick around to hear the rest. Carefully, without making a sound, I went upstairs to my room. Just as I lay down on the bed, Chloe called. She excitedly asked what I had done to make Victoria so frantic. You wouldn't believe it when I got her call. I could tell something was wrong immediately. She actually asked if you were with me. That damn bitch deserves a taste of her own medicine. Sincere, I'm telling you. You absolutely cannot soften up this time. I felt a bit helpless. She really was persistent. This was the first time in all these years she'd shown this much interest in me. Unable to reach me, she had even resorted to calling Chloe. "Don't worry, I won't this time," I reassured her. I didn't do much. She was just waiting outside my apartment. I saw her when I went back, so I dodged her and came to a hotel. "Make sure you don't tell her where I am," I specifically reminded Chloe before hanging up. But I completely underestimated Victoria's tenacity. Somehow she got hold of an unknown number and called me. I answered with a tentative hello, and she immediately launched into a barrage of words. Her voice was agitated and hoarse. "Sincere, where are you? Why are you avoiding me? Do you know how hard I've been looking for you? I waited for you for ages. Why won't you even see me?" Hearing her voice, I didn't say a word. I simply hung up. Then, as I was blocking the number, she quickly sent a message. If pleading didn't work, she'd try threats. "Sincere Clark, you dare block me? Avoid me? Believe it or not, I'll never look for you again. Unblock my number right now, and I'll consider forgiving you. This time I read the texts, then block the number. Shortly after, a new contact request appeared on WeChat from an unknown profile. I'd learned my lesson. I didn't accept, I just blocked and reported it. After doing all that, I actually slept surprisingly well that night. Until the next morning, when I was woken up by my phone ringing. It was my colleague, Alex Miller. "Sincere, why'd you suddenly resign? You didn't even say anything before you left. We wanted to throw you a farewell party." "It's okay, Alex. It was for personal reasons, so I had to leave quickly." Just as I said that, Alex lowered his voice. "Sincere, someone came looking for you early this morning. Heard she's a partner from another company. She asked everyone if they had contact with you. Then when she heard you resigned abruptly last night, she refused to sign the contract and just stormed off, saying she would only sign it with you. I bet the boss is going to call you any minute." As Alex finished speaking, Mr. Peterson's call came through. I knew Victoria. This was exactly the kind of thing she would do, using the contract to pressure my boss, trying to force me to show up. But I had already resigned. Whether the contract was signed or not had nothing to do with me. I switched my phone to silent, pulled the covers over my head, and went back to sleep. When I finally woke up, my phone was filled with a dense list of missed calls and messages. Even WeChat had 99 unread notifications. I glanced through them. The calls and texts were all from Chloe and other friends. There were also some from an unknown number. From the content of the texts, I guessed it was Victoria again, borrowing someone else's phone. After blocking that number too, I opened WeChat. The screen was covered in red dots. Many friends were asking if something had happened to me. Feeling somewhat exasperated, I simply posted an update on my feed. "I'm doing fine. Just completely done with certain things and certain people from the past the moment I posted it." Chloe liked it instantly, then called me again to complain. "Sincere, you're finally awake, you have no idea. Victoria seems to have lost her mind." Chloe sounded exhausted, making me curious. But after hearing the story, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Victoria had contacted every single friend who knew me. When she still couldn't find me, she resorted to harassing Chloe continuously. From midnight yesterday until this morning, she kept calling Chloe. When Chloe didn't answer, Victoria went straight to her apartment and started knocking on the door. "Sincere, tell me, isn't she crazy? I told her you weren't here, but she's convinced you're hiding at my place. She demanded I open the door so she could search for you, like I could just magically conjure up a Sincere Clark for her." I laughed helplessly. No wonder so many friends were asking if I was okay this morning. I hadn't checked out of the hotel room yet, planning to see how things played out today. Given Victoria's frantic behavior yesterday, she would definitely be staking out my apartment again today. That evening, I asked Gary Smith, the property security guard, to check for me. Sure enough, Victoria was right there by the elevator entrance. She even almost mistook the guard for me, throwing her arms around him in a hug. Initially, I was going to ask the guard to make her leave, but unexpectedly, Victoria played the victim card. Later, when the guard called me back, he was actually trying to persuade me. "Mr. Lin, your girlfriend knows she was wrong this time. Why don't you just forgive her? You should see all the cigarette butts on the ground. If she keeps smoking like that, she's going to get sick." The guard's words turned out to be prophetic. A few days later, I heard from Chloe that Victoria was sick. After staying up all night for several nights guarding my apartment, combined with the cooling weather, she developed a fever and was hospitalized. Apparently, she was even calling my name while unconscious. I almost laughed. After messing with me so many times, now she was putting on this deeply devoted act? Several friends subtly asked if I wanted to go visit Victoria, but I refused them all. I could easily picture Victoria, propped up in a hospital bed, getting friends to try and persuade me to visit her. Now that Victoria was in the hospital, I could finally return to my apartment. Just as I finished checking out of the hotel, my phone vibrated. It was a message from Ethan Lawrence. "Sincere Clark, you actually have some nerve. You think playing hard to get, this push and pull tactic, will make Victoria fall for you? She's just not used to your sudden disappearance. Wait until she adapts. Then you'll see how worthless you really are in her heart." Seeing the text reminded me that I had forgotten to block Ethan. Indifferent to his taunts, I simply blocked his number. Finally, back in my rented apartment, just as I lay down, my mom, Helen Clark, called. She had probably heard about Victoria's hospitalization from Victoria's mother, Eleanor Bellwether, and was calling to ask about the situation. I didn't hide anything, just honestly said I didn't know much. My mom was instantly surprised. "Aren't you two together? How can you not know she's sick?" The next second, I immediately denied it. "Together? Mom, we haven't seen each other in ages. Don't spread rumors. I plan on finding a girlfriend eventually." There was a pause on the other end. Then my mom's voice rose sharply. It took quite a bit of effort to placate her and end the call. I knew Victoria's game plan: pressure me through my family to meet her. If friends couldn't persuade me, then she'd start with family. Sure enough, early the next morning, my mom called again. She said Victoria was quite ill. Her parents, Arthur and Eleanor Bellwether, were busy with work and couldn't take care of her, so the task fell to me, her childhood friend who had always looked after her. Naturally, I refused on the spot. "Mom, stop worrying about things that aren't your concern. Victoria Bellwether has a boyfriend. If she's hospitalized, her boyfriend will naturally take care of her. My going there would just complicate things." "Okay, I'm busy right now. Gotta go." Without waiting for her reply, I hung up. I thought that would be the end of it. But Victoria really was using everyone she could, trying every possible way to make me appear before her. Not long after I hung up with my mom, a call came from the hospital. The caller was Dr. Evans, Victoria's attending physician. As soon as I answered, he asked if I was Victoria's family member. I denied it repeatedly, even saying I barely knew her. But then through the phone I heard Victoria's weak voice struggling to speak. "Sincere, I know it's you. How can you say you barely know me? We were about to get our marriage license. Why did you suddenly start ignoring me? I'm this sick because of you. Can't you feel even a little sorry for me?" Her voice became hoarse, choked with sobs. "I need surgery now. Can't you just see me one more time? What if I die on the operating table?" Then came the sounds of the doctor and nurses trying to comfort Victoria. It was just minor surgery. Talk of dying on the table was overly dramatic. I remained silent. When the doctor came back on the line saying they needed a family member's signature for the surgery, I refused point blank. First, I am not her family. Second, her surgery has absolutely nothing to do with me. Third, she has a boyfriend. You can contact her boyfriend. Victoria seemed to overhear this. She started screaming hysterically on the other end, calling my name unwillingly. You are my boyfriend. We were just about to get married. Sincere Clark, have you forgotten?" Of course I hadn't forgotten. How could I forget being played for a fool 7 times? I hung up immediately, unwilling to listen to her screams any longer. That evening, when Chloe heard about it, she called specifically to praise me, saying I was awesome. She said things like, "Cheaters deserve what they get," and urged me not to soften at the last minute. Just after I finished talking with Chloe, Victoria's mother, Eleanor Bellwether called me. Her voice on the other end held a hint of tears. "Sincere, did you and Victoria have some sort of argument? I heard you haven't seen her in a long time. And you didn't even visit her when she got sick this time? You won't even answer the doctor's calls." Hearing Mrs. Bellwether's voice, my heart couldn't help but soften slightly. Growing up, she had always been very kind to me. When we were in school, she always cooked delicious meals for us. Even after the first time Victoria played games with me and stood me up for the marriage license, when Mrs. Bellwether found out, she rushed over and gave Victoria a harsh scolding all evening. Mrs. Bellwether hugged me and said, "Sincere, don't worry. In this lifetime, I only accept you as my son-in-law. Otherwise, I won't even acknowledge her as my daughter." Back then, out of selfish reasons, I hadn't told Mrs. Bellwether that Victoria didn't actually like me, that the person she liked was Ethan Lawrence, that she stood me up because of him. But this time, I really wouldn't soften. For so many years I had compromised myself for Victoria time and time again. This time, I wouldn't continue. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Bellwether. Victoria has her boyfriend with her. She doesn't need me. Besides, the doctor said surgery requires a family member's signature. I don't think I have any such relationship with her. That signature shouldn't be mine." I took a deep breath, making my voice firmer. "Regarding Victoria's matters in the future, it's more appropriate for you to contact her boyfriend. Otherwise, misunderstandings might arise. Mrs. Bellwether, I have something else to attend to, so I'll hang up now." After making everything clear, I ended the call. I believed Mrs. Bellwether understood my meaning. Sure enough, after that day, no one called me anymore. No one contacted me about Victoria's affairs. About half a month before the new year, Chloe dragged me to a party. At the party, friends started talking about Victoria. It turned out Mrs. Bellwether had rushed over to sign for the surgery after all. Victoria was still recovering in the hospital. Some friends who knew the inside story glanced my way. They mentioned planning to visit Victoria, bring her some fruit, and asked if I wanted to join them. But now, I felt incredibly calm. She could no longer stir any emotion in me. "No thanks, you guys go ahead. We're not close, we don't have any connection." After that day, I returned to my hometown. There were quite a few gatherings before the new year. Many classmates, knowing I was back, started arranging get-togethers. I attended several classmate reunions over consecutive days. At the very last one, I arrived half an hour late. Outside the private room door, I suddenly heard someone mention Victoria's name. "Victoria, you and Sincere were always inseparable, and childhood sweethearts, too. How come you're still not married?" "Yeah, we all thought you and Sincere would get married right after university graduation." My hand was already on the doorknob, but I paused. Inside, Victoria remained silent for a long moment before hesitantly mumbling, "Soon, soon. It's happening soon." The classmates immediately started teasing her. I turned to leave. Just then, the door was pushed open by Ben Carter, our former class president. Seeing me, his face lit up with surprise. "Sincere, you're here. We were just talking about you. And guess what? Your childhood sweetheart Victoria is here too. If she's here, then count me out. I have something else to do. Gotta go." I immediately rejected Ben's invitation. Without hesitation, I turned and left. Just as I stepped out of the hotel, I heard rapid footsteps behind me. I ducked into a small alley off the street. Victoria rushed past, chasing frantically in the direction I had been heading. As she ran, she called out my name. "Sincere, come out. Why are you hiding from me? You've been avoiding me for 3 months. Why won't you come out and see me?" "Sincere Clark, please come out." Just then, a man happened to walk by wearing clothes the same color as mine. Victoria, in her haste and distress, mistook him for me and rushed forward, hugging him tightly. The result was a slap across her face, and a crowd gathered around her, threatening to call the police for harassment. Amidst the confusion, I emerged from the alley and walked away, completely unconcerned, heading home. Victoria, trapped in the crowd, saw my departing figure and started calling my name again. "Sincere, don't go, wait for me." She tried to push through the crowd towards me but couldn't move an inch. I didn't know what happened to her afterward, nor did I have any interest in finding out. However, when I got home, my mom complained that since I'd returned, I'd been out partying every day and hadn't eaten a single meal at home. I immediately hugged my mom, acting playfully spoiled, and promised I would definitely eat at home tomorrow. The next day, seeing an extra place setting on the table, I asked subconsciously, "Mom, why the extra plate and silverware?" "Your Auntie Zhao said Victoria is back. We haven't seen her in a while, so I invited her over for a meal and to ask how she's feeling." I frowned, quickly put a bit of food on my plate, claimed I'd already eaten, and slipped out the door. Just as I left the apartment complex, I unexpectedly ran into Victoria arriving, so I had no choice but to hide in the complex's garden to avoid her. Unexpectedly, I witnessed Victoria and Ethan Lawrence arguing. Ethan ran up from behind and blocked Victoria's path. Victoria, why are you ignoring me? Is it because of Sincere Clark? Don't forget how many times you messed with him. No one in their right mind would forgive you for that. Victoria's face twisted, her eyes wide as she glared at Ethan. Shut up if you dare mention any of that. Don't blame me for what happens. Ethan wasn't intimidated. He just laughed maniacally. Now you're scared? What were you doing earlier? Oh, right, I forgot. Earlier you were clinging to me, saying you didn't want to get up. Now you regret it. Want your childhood sweetheart back? Victoria Bellwether, let me tell you, it's too late. Sincere Clark already knows everything. Why else do you think he suddenly disappeared and cut off all ties with you? At his last words, Victoria slapped Ethan hard across the face, knocking him to the ground. Ethan, not backing down, lunged forward and grabbed Victoria's clothes. I actually got to watch quite a show. Eventually, passers-by in the complex pulled them apart. Victoria seemed dazed, muttering something under her breath. Even so, she refused to leave. She straightened her clothes, picked up her gift box, and continued towards my parents' house. After that day, I became extremely cautious, always inquiring about Victoria's whereabouts. Any place she frequented, I made sure to avoid beforehand. Even on New Year's Eve, when I learned Victoria would be coming over early for a traditional visit, I casually made an excuse and left. As long as I didn't see her, who cared if I wasn't home on New Year's Eve? Though later, my mom told me Victoria cried almost to the point of suffocate ion that day, sobbing, saying she was sorry, saying she regretted it, saying she wouldn't bother me anymore. I scoffed, telling my mom not to pay it any mind. After the new year, I terminated the lease on my rented apartment and chose to move elsewhere. On the day I was leaving by train, I unexpectedly encountered Mrs. Bellwether. It had been a while since I last saw her. She looked much more worn. She didn't have so much white hair before, but now it was visibly increased. Seeing me, Mrs. Bellwether didn't say much. She must have known what happened between Victoria and me. She simply reached out and gently touched my forehead. It's Victoria's loss. Sincere, you did the right thing. In that instant, I didn't know what to say. In the end, all I could manage was a simple, "Take care, Mrs. Bellwether." I didn't ask about Victoria, nor did I care anymore. Over the following decade or more, she and I never crossed paths again. Only occasionally did I hear from Chloe that Victoria had bought the apartment I used to live in, and that, from time to time, she would go to City Hall and just sit there all day. Too bad there are no second chances in this world. After 5 years of marriage, I was finally cured of my low sperm count. Just as I was about to share the good news with Victoria Sterling, I overheard her mother, Eleanor, ask her, "When are you planning to tell Sincere? You're going to start showing soon. You can't let the child's biological father remain nameless forever. Just a little longer. Give me some time, I'll handle it." I leaned against the doorway, silently clenching the sperm analysis report in my hand. When I first found out Victoria was seeing someone else, I wanted to tear the man apart. But after I calmed down, I had someone investigate him. Ethan Jones, a fresh-faced college kid, an intern at her company. 6 months ago, Victoria took her project team to Southport for negotiations. That's when they slept together. The private investigator told me it was a setup by a rival company. They had intended to take photos of Victoria with an escort, but unexpectedly, Ethan Jones solved that big problem for her. Victoria offered him a sum of money afterward, but he refused it. And then, in a dramatic twist, she discovered she was pregnant. Victoria and I had been trying for a child for years without success. My dear mother-in-law, Eleanor, couldn't possibly let the Sterling bloodline fall into outside hands, so she protected him. It all made sense now. For the past 6 months, Victoria had been incredibly busy, often rushing off to the office in the middle of dinner with me. She was even working overtime on our wedding anniversary. Thinking back, she probably wasn't working overtime but was at her other home. I was sitting at home when, as it happened, Victoria returned. "Hubby, I brought you pastries from Julian's." Victoria walked in carrying a food box containing Julian's famous egg yolk pastries. I glanced at it, then looked directly into her eyes. "Lily, There's something I want to discuss with you. What is it? She sat beside me, wrapping her arm around my shoulders. Catching the faint scent on her, I curved my lips into a smile. Let's get a divorce. Victoria immediately turned me to face her. Has someone been whispering things in your ear? No, it's just that we've never had children, and I don't want the Sterling family line to end because of me, so… I'm not getting a divorce, Victoria flatly refused. Sincere, it's you I love. I only want you a knot formed in my stomach. Victoria, how can one person's heart hold so many people? But Mom has always wanted a grandchild. I've held you back for 5 years. I'll talk to Mom. You just focus on your health. It doesn't matter if we don't have children. At worst, we can adopt. I know there are girls who get pregnant out of wedlock and can't raise the child. Don't worry, I'll figure it out. After speaking, Victoria pinched my cheek. Hubby, with or without children, I will always love you. I nestled into her arms, listening to her heartbeat, feeling no panic at all. Victoria was playing her cards well. She probably intended to bring that child into the Sterling family for me to raise. How ridiculous. It's not like I'm infertile. You forced my hand. I didn't bring up the child again, but I started paying attention to Ethan Jones. He was set up by Victoria in a villa in the southern part of the city, with a maid to look after him. He really had a strong desire to share, posting glimpses of the villa and various luxury goods on his social media. Wife is 4 months pregnant. A gift of gold jewelry from my mother-in-law. I told her not to, but she insisted. I had to accept. My mother-in-law is the best wife, says her whole family has been waiting for this child for 5 years. I'm their family's great hero, so excited to sunbathe with her, a family of 3. The latest update was a photo. He was sitting in a garden with his arm around a woman, one hand resting on her belly as they soaked up the sun. Only the woman's hand was in the shot, but I recognized it instantly. How bold of you, Victoria. You were so caught up with him that you forgot to take off your wedding ring. She must have been overjoyed, to the point of carelessness. That ring was custom made by me. I created an anonymous account and commented below his post. Are you Mr. Sterling? I heard you were married for 5 years without children. Congratulations on finally getting your wish. When I refreshed the page, the post was gone. I put down my phone and smiled. So, you do know that a mistress is something to be hidden away. 2. This little episode didn't make Ethan Jones any more discreet. He added me on WhatsApp. When I saw the contact request, I clicked on his profile picture. It was a lazy cat, with the background being a room in the villa. Victoria disliked small animals. I once wanted to get a cat to keep me company, but she refused. She claimed to be allergic. But when it came to Ethan Jones, it seemed all her principles and boundaries could be broken. I accepted the request and a message immediately came through. Mr. Clark, I'm not here to break up your family. It's just that you couldn't get Victoria pregnant for 5 years. Now that she's finally conceived, a baby must be born. Life is precious. He couldn't wait to tell me Victoria was pregnant, phrasing it in such a sanctimonious way. I didn't reply, which made him anxious. Mr. Clark, everything I said is true. By this point, I had already saved all his social media photos. I didn't miss a single clue. Only after doing all this did I reply, What are you talking about? Victoria's pregnant? With your child? The person on the other end seemed flustered, typing and deleting before finally sending, Sorry, I thought you knew. You can drop the act. Having a baby is between you and Victoria. It has nothing to do with me. He didn't reply again, and I immediately had my lawyer draft the papers. During our marriage, Victoria and I were the model couple in our social circle. There were no innocent young women throwing themselves at me, nor were there wealthy heiresses trying to win me over. I thought I had married for love, but Victoria dealt me a heavy blow and created a life with someone else. My lawyer was my best friend, James Corbin. When he found out I wanted a divorce, he was stunned. Sincere, have you been possessed or did you hit your head? She's seeing someone else, 4 months pregnant. Instantly, my friend exploded. "Where's my knife that Victoria is such an actress? I'll kill her," I quickly stopped him. "Forget it. She's just a rotten apple, not worth it. But as the party at fault, I want more money." James looked at me for a long moment, then put his arm around me. "Sincere, if you need to cry, just let it out. I'm here for you." I couldn't cry. I don't know why, but I felt a sharp pain in my heart, as if something had been ripped out by the roots, leaving a bloody hole. But when the pain is that extreme, you can't cry. "James, I want a divorce, and I want half her fortune." "All right, I'll help you." An hour later, I went home with the divorce agreement. When my parents, David and Mary Clark, learned that I was divorcing a pregnant Victoria, their faces turned grim. "Sincere, do whatever you feel you need to do. Mom and Dad will always have your back," my father said. "As for the child, that's your decision to make," my mother added. My fist slowly tightened. If Victoria hadn't hidden this from me, I would be sharing the joyous news that I could make her pregnant right now. My mind was made up. My parents respected my decision and let me handle the divorce myself, saying they would only step in if the Sterling family refused to cooperate. After leaving my parents' house, I went to the hospital to pick up my final test results. At the hospital, I saw Eleanor Sterling escorting Ethan Jones to a very important person ward. On some impulse, I followed them. "Ethan, I've already told you, you're in Victoria's heart. Why are you so insecure?" She's not telling him now just to keep him stable. "The Clark family still has business with us." The voices coming from the crack in the door disgusted me. I couldn't listen anymore and turned to leave. But at the end of the hallway, I ran into Victoria. The moment she saw me, she was clearly flustered. "Sincere, what are you doing here? Are you not feeling well?" Her expression changed so quickly. My eyes fell on the prenatal report in her hand. I remained silent. Victoria realized what I was looking at and hurriedly explained, "It's for a company employee. She fell today and almost had a miscarriage, so I brought her here for a checkup. What about you? Why are you here?" 3. Victoria didn't know that when she was flustered, her fingers would unconsciously fidget with the hem of her clothes. I gave a faint smile. "I'm here to visit a friend who's been hospitalized." The relief on her face was visible. "Where are you going?" "I'll give you a ride, no need, you must be busy. After all, she's an employee. We wouldn't want rumors spreading that the Sterling family mistreats its staff. If she miscarries, it would be our fault." Victoria froze. Before she could say anything, I had already left. Outside the hospital, I took a deep breath and went straight home. I packed all of Victoria's things and had them sent to that villa. This was my home ground. If anyone was leaving, it was Victoria. Sure enough, an hour later, Victoria returned and rushed to me. "Sincere, I can explain." I put down my chicken soup and faced her. "Victoria, do you know I gave you 3 chances? The first time was the day you came back from your business trip to Southport. There was a mark on your neck. I asked, and you said you were scratched by a stray cat. The second time I said I wanted a divorce because I didn't want the Sterling family line to end. You said you didn't care about children and wanted to spend the rest of your life with me. The third time was today. You said the prenatal report belonged to a company employee." I sighed. I'm not generous enough to watch my wife have another family on the side. "Victoria Sterling, we're finished." No, Victoria was clearly panicking, clinging to me tightly. "Sincere, I love you. He was just an accident. Mom has already agreed to keep the child and get rid of the father. Once the baby is born, I'll make him leave. I won't let him interfere with our lives. Trust me, my husband can only be you." I patted Victoria and struggled out of her embrace, then handed her a document. "I don't trust you, unless you transfer all the assets under your name to me. I don't have a child, I only have you. But you have a home and a child with someone else. How can I possibly trust you?" My preparedness left Victoria speechless. She glanced at the voluntary asset transfer agreement and explained in a hoarse voice, "It might not be a good idea to move that much capital out of the company right now. Then we'll get a divorce. Victoria, I can't tolerate betrayal. You can't let go of me, And you can't let go of the money. You can't have it all. I took out the divorce agreement again. Without a second look, Victoria tore it to shreds. I agree, I'll give it all to you. She hugged me tightly. Sincere, I won't disappoint you. Once I have the baby, I'll end things with him, I sneered internally. End things? She was so naive. Ethan Jones came from a humble background. Victoria was the best he could ever get. How could he possibly end the relationship so easily? Ethan was willing to be the other man precisely because he wanted to latch on to Victoria. Victoria moved quickly. 3 days later, she had her lawyer transfer all her assets to me. She even gave me an extra 10% of her company shares. When Ethan Jones heard the news, he threw a fit. As soon as Victoria signed the papers, she was called away by a phone call. Sincere, there's an emergency at the office. I'll be back to spend time with you later. Go ahead, it's fine, I said magnanimously as I saw her out. The moment she left the company building, I followed her. When we arrived at a villa, I saw Victoria and Ethan Jones embracing. Lily, I'm scared. Are you going to leave me? Victoria patted his back, comforting him. Don't be scared, I won't leave you. Ethan, this is my first child, and you're his father. No one can separate us strangely, even though I thought I couldn't cry anymore. My heart ached unbearably upon hearing those words. Victoria, you can't be this greedy. Since you chose Ethan Jones, then we are truly finished. 4. I spent the night getting drunk with James. When I woke up the next day, there were dozens of missed calls and messages on my phone, all from Victoria. Sincere, where did you go? Why aren't you replying? Sincere, where are you? Say something, Sincere, what's wrong? I'm back home, waiting for you. I contacted James and had him revise the details of the divorce agreement. Then I sent Victoria a message. I'm out of town with my parents for a bit. Don't worry, I'll be back soon. Victoria quickly replied, Okay, I'll wait for you, I scoffed. You won't be waiting for long. I dropped my luggage off at my parents' house and immediately listed my home with a real estate agent, selling it at a 20% discount. With such a big move, there was no way Victoria wouldn't find out, but she didn't dare to ask. By the time I had settled everything, it was Victoria's mother's birthday. Eleanor called me in advance, insisting I attend. I don't know what Victoria sees in you, she sneered over the phone. Insisting on marrying a man who can't have children. In the past, I would have swallowed her insults, but now that I was divorcing her daughter, why should I be polite? I snorted coldly. What can I say? Victoria just likes it. Maybe she just has cheap taste. What did you say? Eleanor's voice rose, and I hung up the phone. I knew she would complain to Victoria, but I was already done with Victoria. Why would I be afraid of her mother tattling? However, I would go to the birthday party. Not only would I go, but I would also deliver one final, crushing blow to the Sterling family. James had the new divorce agreement ready. Victoria, again, used work as an excuse, so I told her I would go on my own and not to worry. A moment later, I found traces of her on Ethan Jones's other social media account. This time, Ethan was bolder, even posting a profile shot of Victoria with the caption, "Finally," standing by her side. Tonight, as a member of her family so bold, I scoffed and took a screenshot. I compiled all the evidence. The money from the house sale also came through. Victoria, enjoy the party with your family. At 8 p.m., Victoria discovered I had blocked her. At the same time, I posted a public divorce announcement, stating that Victoria had been unfaithful. 5 years of marriage, thank you for the care. For the rest of our lives, let's never meet again. P.S. Selling my 20% stake in the company. Interested parties, please contact me. The internet exploded. A high society divorce battle. And without any prior announcement, I almost missed the juicy gossip. What's going on? They just divorced, just like that? Cheating after 5 years of marriage with no kids, it's normal for the woman to cheat, right? Get out of here. You can divorce if you can't have kids, but cheating during the marriage, getting pregnant by the other man, and then expecting the original husband to raise the kid? Would you be okay with that? I could tell that last comment was from James. He was furious and was online helping me condemn the scumbag woman. My comment section was then flooded by users. 20 of the shares, I can't imagine how rich you're going to be. Most high society marriages are loveless anyway. It's just a marriage of convenience. Why take it so seriously? If you agreed to it in the first place, it means you accepted that you could both do your own thing. Now you want true love? What are you talking about? They were in love. Have you forgotten how sweet they used to be? Victoria once booked all the LED billboards in the city for a public declaration of love. Do you all have amnesia? Let me see what this other man looks like. 5. Someone followed the breadcrumbs and found Ethan Jones's social media account. He was at the Sterling family home and had no time to delete anything, so he was caught red-handed. Someone called him the other man last time, but the post was quickly deleted. I can't believe it's true, so arrogant, knowingly becoming the other man. This guy has that innocent college boy. Look, he can't compare to the original husband at all. As the saying goes, the grass is always greener on the other side. After getting used to a queen, a simple wildflower offers a different flavor. I was undoubtedly the top trending topic. I had ruined Eleanor's birthday party. By the time Victoria returned, she found the villa empty. She tried to break down the door, but the house had a new owner. When she started damaging the door, the new owner called the police and had her taken away. I even sent a reporter to follow along. That night, the news of Victoria being taken away by the police spread across the internet again. The Sterling family issued an emergency statement, claiming that we had been separated for a long time. I laughed. Luckily, I still had the security footage from the villa. I released the video, exposing their lies. Eleanor called me. "Sincere, are you trying to destroy the Sterling family? All Victoria wanted was a child. What did she do that was so wrong?" I looked at the supplementary information the private investigator had sent me and said calmly, "So, you set her up? How did you know?" The Southport project was a deal they were begging the Sterling family for. Why would they get Victoria drunk? Your hands aren't very clean and you didn't tie up the loose ends. Eleanor was speechless. I hung up and blocked her number. She used a different number to call and curse me out. I posted a screenshot of that too with a message for Victoria. "Remember, it was your own mother who destroyed my home. I knew Victoria would investigate. If we provided even a small clue, with her abilities, she wouldn't miss it." The Sterling family was once again swarmed by netizens. Mrs. Sterling attends so many charity galas and always looks so kind and gentle. How can she speak so cruelly? Her face reveals her character. You can tell from those cold eyes she's not a good person. I already experienced it back in college. Victoria was starting to like a younger student from the business school, and Mrs. Sterling sent people to warn him off, even mocking him for being a small-town nerd. The rich are so arrogant, just a rotten apple, acting like she's such a great catch. Victoria and her mother became the target of public criticism, bombarded by netizens. Her mother was forced to turn off her phone, and Victoria was completely overwhelmed. Her reputation collapsed, the company's stock plummeted, and I sold my shares to the second largest shareholder. Victoria completely broke down. After I released the divorce announcement, I sent my parents on a trip abroad. I stayed home to rest, leaving all divorce matters to my lawyer. Victoria tried to find me, but I refused to see her unless it was to finalize the divorce. A week later, James contacted me saying Victoria wanted to talk about the divorce settlement. I readily agreed, got ready, and went to the law firm. When I arrived, Victoria was there. It had only been a few days, but she looked haggard. The exhaustion was plain to see, with dark circles under her eyes. Sincere. Her voice was hoarse when she spoke. It sounded like she had been talking a lot these past few days, leaving her with little energy. She sighed. "I never thought you would plot against me to this extent." She had already had her lawyer transfer all her assets to me. Now with the company's stock price down, she couldn't possibly come up with that much money. 6. She was being pushed to the brink by the shareholders. I smirked. This is the price for betraying our marriage. Victoria, I gave you 3 chances and you didn't take any of them. So you shouldn't be here complaining to me today. If there are no issues with the agreement, just sign it. I had made adjustments. She was the party at fault, and I had made such a huge scene precisely to make her leave with nothing. Victoria never imagined my hatred for her ran this deep. After taking all her assets, I wouldn't even leave her with the final bit of money. I was taking the cars, the jewelry, and I had even made a list of the antiques and famous paintings. When Victoria saw the agreement, she suddenly burst out laughing, then snatched it and tore it to pieces. Sincere, you're trying to drive me into a corner. What good does this do you? I shrugged. Plenty of good. I get to be a wealthy man and live well. Besides, I paused for a few seconds. I can't swallow this insult. Her head snapped up to look at me. What did you say? My low sperm count was cured. That day, I was planning to tell you. But then I overheard what your mother said to you. You said, give me some time, I'll handle it. Hearing this, Victoria's whole body trembled. She stared at me in utter disbelief. It took her a long time to recover, and I just stared back at her. Victoria, the moment you said those words, there was no possibility for us anymore. I glanced at her. She had visibly lost a lot of weight recently. The company must be giving her a hard time. Ethan Jones, too. I had people keeping an eye on him. He had a meltdown after being attacked by netizens, but the Sterling family still hadn't given up on him. Since that was the case, there was nothing more for me to say. I just wanted them to divide the assets quickly so I wouldn't have to deal with these people anymore. With trembling hands, Victoria wiped her face, her eyes bloodshot, as she asked, "Why didn't you tell me?" "If you had told me, I absolutely wouldn't have kept this child. I would only have had your child." I raised my hand and slapped her across the face. "Victoria, you're disgusting. How could you say something like that? How could you bear to hold me and lie to me while cuddling with that man? You are not worthy of being the mother of my child." I handed her Ethan Jones's chat logs. "Look, he's so smug, all because you're carrying his child seeing those records." Victoria broke down. She never imagined that I had known about her affair all along, step by step, luring her into my trap. I wanted to exploit her last shred of guilt to leave her penniless. I took the opportunity to present another copy of the divorce agreement. "I have many copies. Sign it. Let's both be civil about this. Victoria, from now on we'll go our separate ways. No, Sincere, I know I was wrong. But do I have a chance to turn back?" I shook my head. "No, your whole family lied to me. I will never trust you again. Let's part on good terms. Otherwise it will get much uglier when I sue, and you know my temper." Victoria knew I was as stubborn as a mule. Back in school, I was in a relationship. When I found out the girl cheated on me, I broke up with her immediately. When she kept pestering me, I had someone beat her up. After that, she never dared to approach me again. It was the same with Victoria. While we were dating, I told her that if she was ever unfaithful, I would be done with her for good. 7. Victoria knew my temper, which is why she never dared to bring Ethan Jones before me. Now that I knew, she had no reason to hold on to any hope. All my actions now showed that my hatred for her outweighed my love. Victoria didn't want to say any more, sighing, "I can't. If I give you everything, the Sterling family is finished, the company is finished. I can't let my family's business be ruined in my hands. Then I'll sue." I glanced at James, and he nodded. There was no point in wasting any more words with her. I stood up to leave, but Victoria, not giving up, grabbed my hand. "Sincere, are there no feelings left between us at all?" I forcefully pulled my hand back, just staring at her without a word. Victoria understood everything. There was no longer a chance for us. I turned and walked away. According to James, after I left, Victoria stood there for a long time before collapsing to the ground, wailing loudly. If she'd known it would come to this, she wouldn't have started it. "Sincere, whatever you do, don't go soft on her," James warned me later. "Don't worry, I won't. I've never been as calm as I am today." A week later, my parents returned. Hearing that I was going to sue, they couldn't help but sigh. Victoria had a good thing and just had to ruin it. Now the whole city is talking about it online. What a fool, Dad. Mom, don't worry, I'm absolutely not going back. She wronged me, and I don't want a rotten apple. I'll just treat it all as a bad dream. I'm sorry you got dragged into this. With things having reached this point, our family's past was also being dug up by netizens. I don't know if it was a response from the Sterling family, but they started to hire online trolls to slander us. But they had no proof. The more dirt they threw, the more evidence I released. Eventually, the Sterling family didn't dare to make any more rash moves. My mom hugged me, her heart aching. I'm not blaming you, sweetheart. I just feel that her family doesn't know how to cherish you. After all you've done, it still has to come to a lawsuit. I knew my mom was just worried about me. But regarding the lawsuit, I took the initiative, going public online once again to inform everyone of my intentions. Victoria was pushed even further toward a breakdown. A scumbag woman who finds another man but refuses to divorce, who wants to have her cake and eat it too, could no longer hold her head high. Finally, Victoria couldn't take it anymore. Sincere, I agree. Let's get a divorce. On the day we got the divorce certificate, Eleanor came along. Sincere, you are truly ruthless. All of our Sterling family's money is now yours. After being husband and wife, how can you treat her like this? Don't you feel any guilt at all? Before I could speak, Victoria stopped her. Mom, don't say any more. I did it all willingly. Victoria shielded me from her mother's tirade. I smirked and leaned closer to Eleanor. When you plotted against your own daughter, putting her through hell and causing her to betray her marriage and her husband, did you ever think that this would be your karma? Her face turned red. I turned to leave. Victoria wanted to say something more, but her mother gripped her arm tightly. Don't go after him now that you've divorced that man. You need to marry Ethan immediately. Just stay out of my business. Victoria angrily shook her off. I didn't care to know what they argued about after that. In any case, it had nothing to do with me anymore. However, I didn't expect Victoria to be able to get back on her feet. 8. My former mother-in-law sold their old family mansion, quickly liquidating a large sum of money. She then sold off her jewelry to help Victoria get through the crisis. But the damage was done. The Sterling family was severely weakened and in decline, unable to keep up. Victoria and Ethan Jones did end up together, but they never got married. Ethan had, in a sense, made it official. He continued to share his daily life on social media. I glanced at his posts. He seemed to be in good spirits. 2 months later, I attended a banquet with my father. Coincidentally, Victoria was there too with Ethan Jones. Though it had only been 2 months, I was still glowing, while she looked like a different person, increasingly quiet and cold. When Ethan, standing next to her, saw me, a flash of venomous hatred crossed his eyes. In a secluded corner, he approached me. Well played, Sincere. I thought you two had true love, but I never expected you to trick me so badly. You took all her money, and now my life is much worse than before. You're a cold-hearted man. Victoria was completely fooled by you. I hear you've been seeing a lot of models since the divorce. I glanced at him. This is the price she pays for betraying her marriage, isn't it? But I have you to thank for getting so much. Every photo you posted was just more evidence of her affair for me. He was furious. Well, I'm the man by her side, now are you? You'd better hold on tight to that position. After all, if Victoria can find you to have a baby, she can find someone else too. If she could cheat once, she could do it a second and a third time. Ethan froze, then shot me a fierce glare and raised his hand to hit me. I grabbed him by the throat. You'd better not try anything with me. The ruthlessness in my eyes scared him. I shoved him aside. Just then, Victoria walked over. What's wrong? Ethan looked on the verge of tears. Lily, it's not his fault. I couldn't help but come over and say hello. I sneered. Miss Sterling, under these circumstances, you shouldn't be parading your mistress around. And you certainly shouldn't let him provoke me so openly. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what I might do. I looked Victoria's belly up and down. Victoria immediately turned to him. What nonsense are you talking about? Lily, I just wanted to apologize to him. I coolly took out my phone and played the recording. Hearing the sound, his face turned pale. Don't pull these kinds of tricks on me in the future. It's disgusting. Victoria, your taste in men is really something. With that, I turned and left. Victoria's face was extremely ugly. I didn't see Ethan Jones at the event again. I heard Victoria sent him away. Meanwhile, I exchanged pleasantries with my father and other guests. People kept approaching me. Divorced and now in possession of Victoria's entire fortune, I had joined the ranks of the wealthy. Some nosy people privately asked how much compensation I received. I just smiled without answering. It was money I deserved. As for the future, with all these innocent college girls available, why would I want these older women? On the way back, my dad remarked, I never thought your divorce would make you so popular. Do you know how many people were asking me about you tonight? Dad, your son doesn't have to worry about finding a wife. But these people don't have good intentions. They're all after my money. I'm not interested. My dad knew, of course. All right. If you meet someone suitable, you can decide for yourself. I nodded. Just as I was about to speak, I saw Victoria. She was standing in front of my building, looking as if she had been waiting for a long time. 9. After I got out of the car, my dad looked at her and said gravely, You two talk, I'm going inside. Soon it was just the two of us outside. Victoria broke the silence. Sincere, I know you're not like that. Ethan. He's just insecure and emotionally unstable. I'm sorry, but is there still a chance for me? Even now, she still wanted to get back together with me. We've reached the end of the road. You know I never go back to an old flame. Her mouth opened, and she looked at me with a sorrowful expression. 5 years of feeling sincere. You're stronger than I thought. Is there really no chance for me? I want to make it up to you, can I? And what about Ethan Jones? After the baby is born, I'll send him away, I scoffed. Victoria, do you think I'm not disgusted enough already? I have no choice, my mom. Since you're willing to listen to your mother, and you know she set you up, why are you still doing this? Victoria lowered her head. But she's my mother. I can't do anything about it. Then you should just live a good life with him and stop bothering me. I never give a second chance to someone who betrays our marriage, our family, and our love. Leave and never come looking for me again. Hearing me say this, Victoria stood there stunned. She didn't expect me to be so cold and unreasonable. The fact that I was even standing here talking to her was the last shred of civility I could offer. She probably didn't understand how I felt and was about to pester me again. I turned my head and shouted sharply, Stay where you are, Victoria. Don't force me to get rough with you again. The Sterling family business wasn't without its shady dealings over the years. I happened to know a little, but I didn't want to be completely ruthless. She stumbled back 2 steps and gave a bitter smile. I knew you wouldn't forgive me. You hate me. You hate me for my betrayal. I'm sorry, Sincere. I shook my head. I don't hate you, and I don't love you anymore either. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. I plan to forget her. Victoria's face turned deathly pale. We had been together for 5 years, dating for a year before getting engaged and married. We were once the model couple in our circle. Victoria had doted on me, loved me to the bone, but she still betrayed me. There's no need to dwell on the past. The biggest lesson I learned from this marriage is not to waste energy on pointless emotions. What's lost is lost. After that, I didn't deliberately follow her news. About half a month later, James told me Victoria had a miscarriage. I was shocked to hear the news. What did you say? Ethan Jones failed to pressure her into marriage and threatened to kill himself. Things got out of hand, and he and Victoria tumbled down the stairs together. She miscarried. With that, her last hope was gone. He's truly useless to her now. Victoria had been keeping him around because of the child in her belly. Now that the child was gone, there was no reason to keep Ethan Jones around. I treated it as a joke, but I didn't expect Ethan to be more cunning than I thought. He managed to get back into Victoria's bed again. Only this time his luck ran out. Victoria had him thrown in jail for 2 days. The next time I saw them was 3 months later. Victoria and Ethan were arguing on the street, and another woman was clinging to Ethan, refusing to let go. A love triangle? From their argument, I gathered that Ethan had another woman on the side. Victoria had been supporting him, and he had been using her money to support someone else. After Victoria kicked him out, the other woman started pestering him for money, threatening to expose him. Ethan was at his wit's end. Now, seeing Victoria, he was clinging to his last hope. The three of them entangled on the street, becoming a laughingstock. Seeing this melodramatic scene, I couldn't help but smile. It seemed even fate didn't want me to be deceived. Victoria had been punished for betraying our marriage. Now that we were divorced, we had nothing to do with each other. When the farce ended, she turned her head and met my gaze. Her mouth opened, but in the end she said nothing and walked away looking defeated. From across the street corner, I watched her cover her face and sob. There are no do-overs in life, and I will never look back.